What if the greatest slugger of the decade was disappearing right before our eyes? The New York Yankees are winning 7 of their last 10 games. A solid 4.5 game lead over the Red Sox and Blue Jays. The team is brimming with confidence, playing its best baseball of the season, and yet something feels off. Something is missing, or rather, someone is missing. Giancarlo Stanton, a name that was once synonymous with power, explosiveness, and offensive dominance, has now become silence. A silence that echoes to the stands of Yankee Stadium with every win, every Aaron Judge home run, every comeback on the scoreboard. Because no matter how hot the team is, the fans know this team isn't complete. And this void isn't new. Stanton hasn't played since the end of last season. And now, in May 2025, there's still no concrete timetable for his return. He's out, far from the spotlight, fighting an invisible battle with tendinitis in both elbows, a rare, painful, and treacherous injury, especially for a player whose main weapon is his bat. But before I tell you why the situation is keeping the Yankees front office up at night, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Here, you get the behind-the-scenes stories of the biggest franchises in sports. The details the headlines ignore. This is exclusive, raw, cinematic content, made for those who live the game for what it really is. If that's you, welcome to the community. Let's go back for a second. In 2017, when the Yankees announced the arrival of Giancarlo Stanton on a 13-year, $325 million contract, despite still playing at a high level, this man will bring us titles. And he delivered legendary moments. Since his MLB debut in 2010, no one has hit more home runs than he has. No one. A staggering 429 bombs, 20 more than Nelson Cruz, the now retired runner-up. And even in recent years, as injuries started creeping in, Stanton reminded everyone why he still feared. In 2024, during the American League Championship Series, he hit 4 clutch home runs. And in the World Series against the Dodgers, he added 2 more, even as the Yankees fell in 5 games. That was the final flash of his old self. Since then, everything has changed. The 2025 season started with hope. Even sidelined, there was belief Stanton will be back soon. And just under 2 weeks ago, the team gave positive signs. Stanton faced Jake Cousins, a right-handed pitcher from the Yankees' own roster, in a simulated game. It was his first live pitching session of the year. It looked like a turning point, but reality hit harder. Last Saturday, Aaron Boone shattered that optimism. Despite the apparent progress, Stanton is still far from returning. The manager was blunt. There isn't even a set date for the beginning of his rehab assignment. And that changes everything. Because according to MLB rules, the maximum duration for a rehab stint is 20 days. Meaning, even if he starts tomorrow, his actual return wouldn't happen until the end of June. In practice, we're talking about a comeback that could be pushed to July. And there's another important detail. Boone confirmed that when Stanton returns, he'll only be used as a designated hitter. He hasn't played in the outfield since 2023. In other words, his defensive presence is gone. The man who was once a two-way threat, batting glove, is now limited to one role. And for now, even that is out of reach. That raises an uncomfortable question inside the organization. What to do in the meantime? The Yankees are winning. They're strong, but the season is long. October demands depth physical presence. Stars ready to turn games with 3 or 4 swings. Stanton was that kind of star. And now his absence could force the team to reinvent itself. But reinvent how? Without inventing scenarios not backed by the facts, the truth is, there's no public plan B, no official trade rumors, no declared replacement. But the tension is real. It's a kind of silence you feel between the lines of press conferences, a tone of frustration in Boone's eyes, the lack of strong statements from Brian Cashman. All of it suggests that internally, the pressure is heavier than the public knows. And for the fans, the question remains, is it better to trust Stanton's slow, uncertain, and limited recovery? or to accept that Giancarlo's chapter in New York may be closing. Not with a bang, but with a quiet fade or prolonged absence? New York fans are demanding. They know the time is now. Judge is healthy. The rotation is clicking. The division is under control. But without Stanton in the lineup, there's a missing piece. That intimidating presence, that name that commands respect just by stepping up to plate. Imagine starting the postseason without him. Imagine facing the Astros, the Orioles, or even the Rangers without Giancarlo. It feels like a nightmare disguised as a statistic. And the reality is, right now, not even Stanton knows when he'll be back. He's training, he's progressing, but the elbows still scream. And the Yankees wait, in silence. Now the question is for you. Comment down below. Do you believe Stanton still has an important role on this team? Or do the Yankees need to adapt and move on without him? Your opinion matters, and it might appear in our next video. And the Yankees wait, in silence. But in New York, silence never lasts long. The most scrutinized team in Major League Baseball, the most successful in history, can't afford to wait too long. Every week of uncertainty becomes a headline. Every absence in the lineup turns into a national topic. And every injury is an existential threat to the October dream. Giancarlo Stanton, one of the most explosive names in modern baseball, remains out of action. With 429 career home runs and a history of postseason heroics, the designated hitter should be the engine behind the Yankees' offensive order. But he's idle, trapped in his own body, by chronic tendinitis that insists on stealing both his elbows, and with them, any short-term chance of playing. Aaron Boone cautiously announced that Stanton might return by the end of May. He even faced pitcher Jake Cousins in a simulated game, supposedly the first step toward a full rehab. But the optimism didn't last. Last Saturday, Boone brought everyone back to reality. There's no return date. None. And since formal rehab is limited to 20 days under MLB rules, that means Stanton's real return wouldn't come, at the earliest, until late June. Maybe even July. And even then, only as a designated hitter. Stanton, the former outfielder with over 1,000 games in the field, is now limited to a single role, a static presence at the plate. But the issue isn't just physical, it's structural. Because every hole in the 2025 Yankees roster exposes a dilemma. Keep winning with what they have, or give up valuable pieces despite still playing a high track. And that's where Marcus Stroman enters the picture. A name that, just a few weeks ago, seemed like a technical mystery. A 11.57 ERA in 3 games. Subpar performance. A knee injury that's kept the 34-year-old veteran out since April 11th, with no timetable for return. But while injuries usually reduce a player's value, Stroman's case is the exception. His stock is rising. And it all comes down to a contract detail. Bob Nightingale, a respected journalist from USA Today, revealed that many general managers have started to monitor a critical development. Because Stroman won't reach the 140-inning mark this season, he automatically forfeits his player option for 2026. And that changes everything. Literally everything. Last offseason, Stroman drew interest. Several teams wanted him, but no one was willing to take on the risk of a multi-year commitment. The $18 million for 2026 blocked any potential deal. Now, that concern is gone. Stroman becomes a rental. A contract with a clear expiration. The perfect trade piece before the July deadline. That's why the Yankees are facing a quiet but critical opportunity. They have a veteran pitcher, a 2-time All-Star, with nearly 1,500 career innings and a reliable track record despite some ups and downs. They have a rotation that, despite recent wins, is still being shaped. And they have a lineup that, without Stanton, lacks power and presence in crucial moments. The question now circulating behind the scenes is no longer whether Stroman will pitch again this year. It's, will he pitch again for the Yankees? Aaron Boone tried to explain the right-hander's poor early season performance. These guys are like race cars. One little thing can throw off that last-minute command, he said. And he's right. The knee pain prevented Stroman from executing basic mechanics, generating power, maintaining control. But that doesn't eliminate his value, especially as a trade chip. And here begins the internal dilemma. If the Yankees want to turn Stroman into a valuable trade asset, they need to move quickly. The longer he's sidelined, the higher the risk of diminished value or re-injury. On the other hand, if they wait for his recovery and he delivers quality performances, the impact on a rotation could be massive, especially if the team is leading the AL East and aiming for a deeper October run. The situation becomes even more dramatic when we remember that Stroman joined the Yankees this season on a 2-year, $37 million contract. He's not just another veteran. He's someone who bet on New York, who spoke about leadership, who loudly declared he wanted to be part of the solution. But MLB reality is harsh. If Stroman doesn't deliver immediate value, even just as a trade asset, the dream becomes a tradable commodity. And the Yankees, with fresh memories of last year's World Series loss to the Dodgers, don't have time to waste. Yes, they're winning, but they're winning on a razor's edge. Every victory now could be masking a new problem just 2 weeks away. And that's why Stanton's absence and Stroman's situation aren't just medical concerns. They're strategic decisions. Chess moves in the middle of a 162-game war. The trade deadline is approaching. Teams like the Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, and Astros may seek experienced arms. Others, like the Mariners or Guardians, could look for depth. Stroman, on an expiring deal, could fit into any of those scenarios. And the Yankees know it. That's why Brian Cashman's front office is working silently, evaluating, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to move the pieces. What once looked like a temporary absence is now a question mark that could define the fate of the season. Giancarlo Stanton is out with no timetable. Marcus Stroman is recovering, gaining value from his own misfortune. And amid all this, the Yankees keep winning. But they're holding their breath because every misstep could cost everything. And now I want to hear from you. What would you do if you were in the Yankees' shoes? Hold on to Stroman as a final playoff weapon, or trade him now while he still has value to bring in a bat or bullpen arm that can help immediately? Comment below. Your take might be featured in the next video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the time. Here, you get deep coverage of the Yankees that TV won't show you. Like the video, hit the notification bell, and get ready. Because in the next episode, we'll reveal which teams are monitoring Stroman, and a surprise name who could land in the Bronx if a deal goes down. Until then, stay alert, because with the Yankees, silence never lasts long.